hallucinating? Are we coming through? Coming through? Yeah. Okay. Are you coming through too?
Possibly.
Yes. No. Say something loud and imposing.
Shabbat Shalom.
Do you think it's coming through the speakers? Wait, am I coming through the speakers? Yeah. Okay, I'm coming through the speakers. What about now?
What about now?
Yes? Okay, hold on.
Great.
Okay, what about now?
What about now? All right.
What about me?
All right. What about the service, huh? Well, obviously, I'm not the rabbi, but you know what? It's great that everybody's here. I mean, this is fantastic. So, Shabbat Shalom, wonderful crowd. And we'll get started here. We're going to, as we come together, we're going to turn to page 126. Seems hot in here. So together we can say this. I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created, and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us, and to bring that vision to life. All right, and so for our candle lighting, we will call Mindy Wiseman on page 121 and 120. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you very much. I should mention that's Brendan Howard. Thank you, Brendan. And so we will now turn to page 140, Psalm for Shabbat. Mizmor shir layom ha-Shabbat, tov lehadot l'Adonai, uzamer leshimka elyon, lehagid ba'bocher chazdecha, ve'emunatecha ba'leilot, alei asor, v'alei navel, alei higoyom bechinor, alei asor, v'alei navel, alei higoyom bechinor. At the bottom of the page in English, please, a psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night, with a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together. You have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai. How very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know. A fool cannot understand this. The righteous bloom like a palm tree and thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. planted in the house of Adonai. They flourish in the courts of our God. In old age, they still produce fruit. They are full of sap and freshness.
Attesting that Adonai is upright, my rock, in whom there is no wrong.
All right, now Brendan will lead us in the Shalom Aleichem song on page 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zetchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Page 144. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yamad yivrach erute v'yamlich malchute. B'chaye kon uvyom kon uvchaye deko beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv. Ve'imeru Amen. Yeshmei Rabba Mevarak Le'olam U'ma'omeyamaya Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei Kudasha Brekhu Leila min kol birchata tushbechata Veshirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imeru. Amen. Page 146, the Baruch Hu.
Yalalai, lai, lai, 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 yalalai, lai, lai. Please rise. Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Middle of the page of 148. Together. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Zevaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on evening. Baruch atah Adonai ha-ma'ariv aravim. Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. All right, we're now heading to page 152, which we're going to do the Shema and then go on to do the Ve'ahavta. Okay, so hate to make you stand back up, but we're going to make you stand back up. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom alevavecha ve'shinantam levanecha Veribarta bam b'shivtecha b'vaytecha uvlechtecha v'derek uvshakvecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot beineineka uktavtam al mezuzot beitecha Uvisharecha leman tiskuru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeti etkem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. All right, you may be seated now. Our cantor, Brendan, will now do the Mi Chamocha song on page 158. 158.
We'll go with the Friedman one. Everybody knows the Friedman one.
Do whatever you want.
La
And Brendan, we're going to keep you busy with this next song on page 160, the Hashkivenu song. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chayim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chayim. Ufros aleinu, sukat shlomecha. Ufros aleinu, sukat shlomecha. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chayim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chayim.
We now turn to page 162. Those who keep Shabbat by calling it a delight will rejoice in your realm. The Yismachu.
Yismechu
V'malechutecha.
Shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, Oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'korei, Oneg Shabbat. Mekadesh Shavi Shabbat, Kulam Yisbehu, Ve'yitanu mitovecha Shabbat, Yismechu b'malach
Please rise if you're able for the tefillah on page 164.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agite hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu kimoteinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, El Hagadol, Hagibor, Ve'Hamorah, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'Koneh Hakol, Ve'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imachot, U'Mevii Geulah Livnei Bneihem, Le'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat
Sarah. Page 168 into English. You are forever mighty, Adonai. You give life to all. You cause the wind to shift and rain to fall. You sustained life through love, giving life to all, through great compassion, supporting the fallen, healing the sick, freeing the captive, keeping faith with those who sleep in the dust. Who is like you, source of mighty acts? Who resembles you, a sovereign who takes and gives life, causing deliverance to spring up and faithfully giving life to all? Blessed are you, Adonai, who gives life to all. Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. All right. Page 170, you are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Now we turn to page 176, which is an appropriate prayer, since yesterday was Thanksgiving, and we're still in the giving thanks mood, and this prayer acknowledges us to give thanks. On page 176, Modim Anachnu Lach. In English, we acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of every salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one, whose mercies never end, O compassionate one, whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you. We will now move on to our prayer for peace, Shalom Rav, on page 178.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav tasim leolam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha, tasim leolam. V'tov b'necha levarech et Amcha Yisrael, b'chol עת ובכל שעה, לשלומך. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha, tasim leolam. Shalom Rava Yisrael Amcha, tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
We now turn to our members in need of healing at this time, so you may be seated. This is on page 371. I'll wait till you get there. On our prayer list, we have Doris Alexander, Shirley Bauer, Cochran family, Lauren Cohen, Robin Crumpton, Seth Gallitzer, Eli Glenn, Roberta Gold, Laura Helruck, Brady Heights, Paul Hinkle, Bubby Howell, Karen Kilgarren, Kathy Lights, Richka Mattingly, Michael McMillan, Vivian Parker, Lupe Perez, Kelly Perkins, Marie Ruby, Dr. Arnold Schneider, Stephanie Shatira, Steve and Paula Shatira, Howard Schwartz, Joe Scraper, Stan Silverberg, Ted Stempel, Matthew Walker, Michael Weinsoft, Jeffrey Wilmote. If there are others in need of healing, you can certainly mention them at this time. We'll just go from the left, from my left to your right. Okay. Okay. And if there are any others, for those that are watching us, viewing us, they may put it in the chat. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill, whose names we have just mentioned. May the Blessed One, holy be he, filled with compassion for their health, be restored, and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say, Amen. Andrew, you want to hit the Misha Bayrock song, Debbie Friedman? All right. Sheberach Yavotenu Kol HaBracha Imotenu.
May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu b'chor habracha l'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal
absolutely beautiful. All right, so the Devar tonight is on our Torah portion for this week. It's Toldot, which means generations. And so a summary of this, well, first off, the Parsha, the Torah portion, is found at Genesis chapter 25, starting at verse 19. And in this portion, Isaac and Rebekah, they're married, they've been childless for 20 years. And finally, God answers their prayers, and Rebekah conceives. But she experiences a difficult pregnancy. As the Torah tells us, the children struggle inside her. She asks God, and God tells her that there are two nations in your womb, and that the younger will prevail over the elder. So the first child to be born is Esau. Esau emerges first, and then they are twins, and Jacob comes clutching Esau's heel. He comes out second. Esau grows up to be a cunning hunter, a man of the field. Jacob is more a dweller in the tents of learning. He's more surreal, more cerebral. And Isaac favors Esau, and Rebekah favors Jacob. One day, Esau returned from the field after he was hunting, and he was exhausted and hungry, and he saw Jacob making a pot of red lentil stew, and so he sold his birthright, his rights as a firstborn, to Jacob because he was hungry. He says, I don't need it, what good is it? My birthright. And so later on, Esau ends up marrying two women. They were Hittites, and this was not something that Isaac and Rebekah liked because the Hittites were enemies. And so eventually Isaac grows old and blind, but Esau is the oldest, so he says to Esau, go hunt, bring me back some game, and I will give you my blessing. Well, Rebekah hears this, Jacob's mother and Isaac's husband. And so Rebekah tells Jacob, get in there and get the blessing. Okay? And Jacob says, well, how can I get the blessing? And she tells him to go ahead and get it. And of course, I'm paraphrasing because this is not exactly word for word how it is, but this is a summary, okay, in my own words here. So Rebekah tells Jacob to dress up in some clothing that she's going to give him that were clothing of Esau's. And remember, Isaac's eyesight is failing him, so he can't really see. And he goes, which of my two sons is it coming here, is here for the blessing? Even he obviously has a question as to who this is. Well, Jacob's dressed in Esau's clothing. His arms and neck are covered with goat skins to simulate the feel of his hairier brother. And he brings in a dish that his father was expecting Esau to bring. And so at this point, Isaac says, he goes, the voice is the voice of Jacob, but the hands are the hands of Esau. Are you really my son? And Jacob says, yeah, I'm Esau. So with this deception, Isaac goes ahead and gives Jacob his blessing for the dew of heaven and the fat of the land and mastery over his brother. Now, when Esau returns from hunting, he's a little miffed. So he actually weeps and asks his father, don't you have a blessing for me? And essentially Isaac says, well, I gave the blessing already, and I've got a small one for you, but and so Jacob ends up knowing that Esau is angry with him. He has to flee. He goes to his uncle's home, Laban, and he tries to find a wife for himself there. But in any event, this happens, and so now I look at this commentary from Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks of blessed memory. Used to be the chief rabbi of the United Kingdom, and here's what he has to say. He gives us the take on, was Jacob right to take the blessings? He gives us an interpretation. In fact, he gives us kind of two interpretations. He gives us the traditional interpretation, which is the traditional Jewish interpretation, which is, yeah, he was right. But then he gives us another one, so I'm going to go through that real quick. So he asks, was Jacob right to take Esau's blessing in disguise? Was he right to deceive his father, to take from his brother Esau the blessing that Isaac sought to give Esau? And was Rebekah right in conceiving the plan in the first place and encouraging Jacob to carry it out? Well, the traditional way of looking at this was Esau was the elder and Jacob the younger, and therefore it was Jacob who would emerge with greater strength, Jacob who was chosen by God. And this was told to Rebekah when these twins were still in her womb, as she interpreted it. And second, she knew that the twins growing up, she had watched them, and Esau was a hunter, a man of violence. She had seen he was a man of impulse, impetuous, mercurial, not a man of calm reflection. She had seen him sell his birthright for a bowl of soup. She watched him eat, drink, and leave, and essentially despise his birthright. And she says, no, and the interpretation is no one who despises his birthright can be the trusted guardian of a covenant intended for eternity. This is the covenant for the Jewish people. This is what we say, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob during our services. So, and the third reason is just before the episode of the blessing, we read when Esau was 40 years old, he married 2 Hittite women. And they were a source of grief to Isaac and Rebekah. This too was evidence of Esau's failure to understand what the covenant requires. By marrying a Hittite woman, 2 of them, he proved himself indifferent both to the feelings of his parents and to the self-restraint in the choice of marriage partner that was essential to being Abraham's heir. So the blessing had to go to Jacob. If you had 2 sons, one who was indifferent to art and the other who was an art lover, who would you leave the Rembrandt painting to that had been part of the family heritage for generations? And if Isaac did not understand the true nature of his sons, if he was blind, not only physically, but also psychologically, might it not be necessary to deceive him? So that's the first interpretation. But Rabbi Sacks, he says, it's impossible to read this Torah portion without being sympathetic to Isaac and Esau. Isaac trembled when he found this out, that he had been deceived, and Esau heard his father's words, and he burst out with a loud and bitter cry and said to his father, "Bless me too, bless me, Father." And Esau would not give him the first right blessing at that point. So as it stands, it's impossible to read it without having sympathy for Isaac and Esau. So that's the first thing. And the Torah is usually sparing in emotion, but yet here it used phrases like trembled violently and burst out with a loud and bitter cry. then you also consider the consequences. Jacob had to stay away from home for more than 20 years, fearing for his life from Esau. And then he suffered almost an identical deceit practiced on him by his uncle Laban. When Laban would later substitute Leah for Rachel, he thought he was marrying Rachel, and it turns out it's Leah under the veil. And Jacob cries out, "Why did you deceive me?" And Laban says, "It's not done in our place to place the younger before the elder." Not only the act, but the words even imply a punishment, measure for measure. Deceit, of which Jacob accuses Laban, is the very word Isaac used about Jacob. Laban's reply sounds like a virtually explicit reference to what Jacob had done, as if to say, "We do not do in our place what you have just done in yours." The result of Laban's deception brought grief to the rest of Jacob's life because there was tension between Leah and Rachel. There was hatred between their children. Jacob was deceived yet again, this time by his sons, when, as we will later see, they brought him Joseph's blood-stained robe, another deception of a father by his children involving use of clothes. The result was that Jacob was deprived of the company of his most beloved son for 22 years, just as Isaac was of Jacob. Asked by Pharaoh how old he was, Jacob replied, "Few and evil have been the years of my life." He's the only figure in the Torah to make a remark like this. So this deception brought all concerned great grief and persisted into the next generation. So Rabbi Sachs' reading of the text is this, that the phrase in Rebekah's oracle, the Hebrew phrase, was in fact ambiguous and may also mean the elder will serve the younger, or the younger could serve the elder. So Rabbi Sachs says Isaac understood the nature of his two sons. He loved Esau, but this did not blind him to the fact that Jacob was going to be the heir to the covenant. Therefore, Isaac prepared two sets of blessings. One he was going to give to Esau, and the other for Jacob. He blessed Esau with the gifts he thought he would appreciate. May God give you heaven's dew and earth's richness, and abundance of grain and new wine, that is wealth, as well as be Lord over your brothers, which is power. But these are not the covenantal blessings. And the covenantal blessings that God had given Abraham and Isaac were completely different. They were about children and land. And it's this blessing that when Isaac was confronted with the situation and Jacob was leaving to go to Uncle Laban to flee Esau, it's this blessing that was given from Isaac to Jacob. May God Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and increase your numbers until you become a community of people. May he give you and your descendants the blessing given to Abraham, so that you may take possession of the land where you now reside as a foreigner, the land God gave to Abraham. This was the blessing Isaac had intended for Jacob all along, so there was no need for deceit and disguise. This is Rabbi Sachs's interpretation. And he further says, Jacob eventually came to understand all this, perhaps during his wrestling match, which he had with the angel the night before he came back and finally made up with Esau after their long estrangement. What happened is that Jacob gave back the blessing to Esau, the dew and earth's riches, that is wealth. He gave that back at this point, some 22 years, some years later. And Jacob then bowed down 7 times to Esau and said, he fulfilled the words, "May the sons of your mother bow down to you." So Jacob gave the blessing back. He said so explicitly. He said to Esau, "Please accept the blessing that was brought to you, for God has been gracious to me, and I have all I need." So on this reading of the story, Rebekah and Jacob have made a mistake in having Jacob get the blessing. and the blessing that Isaac was about to give Esau was not the blessing of Abraham. He intended to give Esau a blessing appropriate to him. So, Rabbi Sachs says there is such a thing as an honest mistake, and it was a mark of Jacob's greatness that he recognized it and made amends to Esau later. In the encounter, 22 years later, the estranged brothers meet, they embrace, they part as friends and go their separate ways. But first, Jacob had to wrestle with an angel. That is how the moral life is. We learn by making mistakes. We live life forward, but we understand it only by looking backward. Only then do we see the wrong turns we inadvertently made. This discovery is sometimes our greatest moment of moral truth. For each of us, there is a blessing that is ours. That was true not just of Isaac, but also Ishmael, not just Jacob, but also Esau. The moral could not be more powerful. Never seek your brother's blessing. Be content with your own. Can you hear us on? All right. All right, we continue with the Aleinu in the middle of page 586. Please rise if you are able. And I think we got somebody who's going to help us out with this. I think we had a request for some children to come up and open the ark. Oh, grandchildren, okay. All right, yeah.
The whole family? Okay.
Well, we're in the middle of page 586. Aleinu le'shabeach ladon hakol, lateit gedula le'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'goraleinu kechol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. All right, we're now turning to page 598. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts. We have Shloshim, Luella Cook, Yarzites Adeline Dubrovy, Libby Gordon, Fanny Mandelbaum, Betty Friedman, Isaac Gartner, Harry Gordon, Benjamin Morgenstern, Donna Skronopsky. Are there any others that are having a Yarzite, commemorating a Yarzite? If there are any on, that are any of our viewers, they can put it on the chat. Okay. All right, on page 598. Yitkada v'yitkada shmei rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach rute, v'amlich malchute, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'kayide kol beit Yisrael, bagala uv'izman kariv v'imuru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam ulamei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitparar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudisha barekhu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imuru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'alcha Yisrael v'imuru amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'asei shalom, Aleinu v'alcho Yisrael v'maru. Amen. May their memories be for a blessing. Zikrunam livracha. All right, so it's time for the announcements. Margot is our officer.
Okay. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
On behalf of our Board of Directors, I want to extend a warm welcome to our guests and members. On this Shabbat, we extend our thanks to Marcia Pankwich West for ushering, Alan Parker for running the virtual streaming equipment, Alan and Molly Wiseman for leading candles in Kiddush, extended Wiseman family for being here and making this a really lovely evening, Brendan Howard for leading our music, Norm Shapiro, I'm going to call you Shapiro, but Spiro for leading our Shabbat service. On Friday, December 6th, please join us for our Shabbat service at 7 p.m. Rabbi Stern will be leading the service and Brendan Howard is leading the music. December birthday and anniversary blessings will be given. For other upcoming events, please check tonight's handout, the online event calendar, the monthly bulletin, or the weekly email. Tonight's tzedakah will go to Ronald McDonald House in Topeka. The tzedakah box is in the foyer. And again, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Okay, we're going to call back up here Sam and Mindy Wiseman. Before we adjourn to the social hall for our oneg, we are going to do the Kiddush on page 123 and then the Motzi. The Hamotzi. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Hi. So we have a surprise. Some of you may know or may not know, but 50 years ago and 2 days, our parents were married in this building. And so we have sort of conspired. There was talk of deception in the sermon, so I was thinking about that. You know, many of you know our parents very well, and
Molly and Alan Wiseman.
oh yeah, Molly and Alan Wiseman is their name. And the temple is very important to them, and so we're like, oh, no problem, we'll just get some leaves for the tree. Well, of course, my dad, he already took care of that. So we want to do something for them. So with the help of some other co-conspirators, we've reached out to a bunch of family and friends across the country. They've sent in small, medium, large donations to the temple, which we dropped off to the office today. And what we've done, we got these plaques. There's 4 of them, one for each of these chairs, which will be in their honor from now till forever. And I just think it's really special that all of our family could be here, that all of you could be here. And there's more deception, which Mindy will explain.
Well, it's kind of challenging to plan things at the temple when people are treasurer, groundskeeper, social coordinator, everything like that. So we just wanted to say thank you to Jane Green, who really helped us with all of this. Also to Lindsay, who is not actually doing the oneg. We are doing the oneg, but she helped us with that. And also Tracy really helped us come up with some sneaky plans for you all. So
happy anniversary.
happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. We love you.
Now, Kiddush.
Kiddush. You do the Kiddush.
I'll do the Kiddush now.
I actually think before we get to the Kiddush, we're going to have to do a Shehekeyanu for the anniversary couple, don't you think? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehekianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazmen hazeh. Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uratzon in kilanu zikaron le'maaseh bereshit ki hu yom tequila lemikraye kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta michohamim B'Shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen. All right, do we have any pre-bar or bar mitzvah kids? All right, we have the motzi.
Wait, does somebody from the family want to cut? I'm a terrible cutter. I'm a terrible challah cutter.
Don't put,
Okay, ready?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Okay, get it. Yeah, you just got volunteered for first piece. Wait, that's the one that's uncut, so you want the entire other part of the... So, 4 pieces, you select your...
Great. All right. We'll close with our closing song. Of course, we're going to need our cantor to do it. On page 642, Al Shlosha Devarim. Shlosha Devarim. Al Shlosha Devarim. Al Shlosha Devarim. Ha'olam, ha'olam, omein. Al Shlosha Devarim. Al Shlosha Devarim. Al Shlosha Devarim. Ha'olam, ha'olam, omein. Al HaTorah ve'al Havodah ve'al Gemilut Chasadim. Al HaTorah ve'al Havodah ve'al Gemilut Chasadim. Shabbat Shalom.
I really like your sermon.
Can I have the wife and family come up so I can get a full photo?
I thought it was going to be too long.
No, it worked out very well.
That's why I was kind of